Yo, you good?
Yeah.
Alright.
Let's
Get the
get it.
show on the road. The Dope Podcast Season 17, Episode 7, right?
Yeah, man.
What it do, what it is?
Yeah, man. It's just the two of us today.
Yeah, original dojo.
Yeah, man. Tabang and Bali adulting. Well, I think they are.
I don't know what them niggas have.
Yeah, so it's just the two of us. We're just gonna rock it. How you been, dog?
I've been good. Good. Yeah, I've been good.
Yeah. Just an easy week.
Yeah, but Friday I went a bit too hard. Hey, kaskakuda Sunday morning.
Is it?
Nigga no spanning down.
Oh, Nedinsa Spanish.
Yeah.
They were just sort of like after hours drinks or whatever.
Yeah, I just got carried away with the drinks.
Ain't fit. And you bag him down the whole next day.
Yeah.
The whole next day. Other days.
Nah, it was rough, bro. It was rough.
Now this week, I will not be easy. Just fair spanning. Was just hella busy at work. Really into part of the discussion we're gonna have because hopefully the preparations of because next month the new with the changes the budget they're gonna come into effect. So like we need to ready into to prepare our clients for some of those things, especially it's a
Yeah, I thought that thing wasn't gonna pass.
yeah,
huh?
same. But NC pulled the rabbit out of the hat, bitch. And they did it
through.
Yeah, and they did it without the DA.
Damn.
They did it without the DA. Because apparently they were able to get some of the smaller parties. But Action SA, I know Build One SA. No, King, Build One, so so they were part of the people who voted with the ANC. And they're not necessarily coalition partners. They're not part of the original GNU. So the DA didn't vote for it, but it was able to go through. But now the DA is challenging it, is trying to challenge it in court, which I don't believe will pass because it's a parliamentary process.
Yeah. Hey, these people must have like a budget set aside just for legal battles, no?
Yeah.
Because they're always in court.
Always. Kiba wanaki Afriforum, dijimi, because they're always there, bruh, and they take every single whatever disagreement to court, you know. Marahore, how steadfast they will be is yet to be seen, but in as far as the parliamentary processes and what needs to happen for the budget to go through, it looks like it's just going to go ahead. So in May, we are likely to see that 0.5% come up. So there's no going about it. But now, it now brings to the fore because now we are seeing now these cracks in the GNU and the willingness of the ANC to bypass the DA to get certain things done. So yeah, we are to see Hore. And this is only just like 8 months in, bro, of GNU. This is already what we're finding.
Yeah. I just wonder what the rationale was for the other parties to vote with the ANC.
Especially around...
Or did they also agree that they had to raise funds in quickly?
I think so.
And there wasn't any other way to do it.
I think so. The Action SA, Yona Elare, they will give the ANC their support, Mara, with a sort of stipulation. But I think it was just them grandstanding because the stipulation was around the VAT. But the budget passed with the VAT changes. You know, so I think they were just maybe showboating for their constituency, but maybe they negotiated maybe some ministers if it's flailing with the DA, maybe we'll start seeing maybe some ministers, the Action SA, you know, getting the call up.
But that's fine.
And this sort of like wheeling and dealing is what we are gonna be seeing going forward. Sort of wheeling and dealing of GNU. Whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if this is an indication to the ANC that they can actually operate without the DA.
Without, man. Yeah. It's a good first order for that. Yeah, it's a good first order for that. So yeah, so we are to see hore itla pusha jwang. Mara, in terms of your feeling of how, especially when things like this, it's a Swanalo budget when they were obviously with the NC in majority, things like this were no brainer. They were passed like it's nothing. But now that you are seeing hore, everything is contentious. Everything is a negotiation. I don't know how that, sort of eventually helps in governing, or do we want a government where every single thing is contentious?
Striking in this open ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
So you can't really vote with your own conscience.
Yeah, with your chest.
But I meant because you might find that a lot of them don't agree that this thing needs to be increased, but because you have to toe the party line.
You have to toe the party line.
Yeah.
And
if you don't, then
that's your ass.
It exposes you. Yeah.
That's your ass. That's definitely your ass. So yeah. It looks like for the next 5 years, that's just how it's gonna be. Contentious. Everything will be negotiation. Try to get it passed. Negotiation. Try to get it passed. And again, in the long run, what does for governing? Will it be effective, or is it good in terms of accountability? Because then, the NC really has to convince people.
I wonder how it works when you have, say, maybe like a minister of education who's a DA member.
Yeah, currently now.
And then you have a bill like the Bella that they oppose, but has been signed into law.
Yeah.
But now it's the executive's responsibility to implement those laws.
Yes.
How does that work then?
Wait, what? Because now this DA minister is tasked to do this thing that her party doesn't stand for. There's a bit of conflict.
So now what, do we now get like some internal sabotage or the dragging of feet in terms of
implementation? Yeah. I think that is what you will start seeing. But le DA is under sort of like that thing, they also want to show, or their ministers want to show, listen, when we are in government, this is the sort of things we can do, which is what we are seeing with the Minister of Home Affairs. Like, he's really doing like a lot to try to, digitize the Home Affairs stuff. Apparently this week, they were signing some things with SARS, and I could say the banking, but it's involved with banking, that lobby group, or if it's even a lobby group or what, they're gonna start helping the Home Affairs on this run to digitize and to get kind of getting, especially with the banks, where you can apply for your passport and get your ID at more bank branches.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the sort of deals now this nigga is trying to sign into.
Yeah. And Home Affairs currently does interface into some of the banks, especially with regards to things like verification.
Yes.
So instead of you having to submit your ID copy, they are able to
verify you bank.
Yeah, but they call it selfie verification, or we call it selfie verification, where it shows you put your face in a square or circle, and then it does a facial recognition thing. Coupled with your ID, and then it pulls up your records from Home Affairs.
Nice.
But it's glitchy.
It's glitchy. So there's kinks to be ironed out there.
It's glitchy. It was so glitchy that we stopped using it. We turned it off. Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. No. When I get stressed, Mara, if things like that could be ironed out, it would help a lot to minimize delining. For passport, it will just make that whole process quicker. So hopefully, after 5 years, if stuff like that gets done, the DA can say, this is our ministers. Yeah, this is what we were able to achieve as their campaign.
Let's see.
Yeah. I will definitely.
Let's see.
We'll definitely see, man. So yeah, likely Buffet too. VAT is gonna go up, and we know then what that means. It's things, then the prices go up for a lot of things, except still the kind of way it's there's normally like a list of items that are 0 rated, I think, where VAT doesn't apply. I think you can check up the list online, or it's mainly like grocery items, but then everything else goes up, dog. Everything goes up.
And your salary increase will be nowhere
near that. So
what's the highest percentage increase you ever got on a salary?
Jesus. Because mine is normally around inflation. Because I saw like y'all niggas like jumped companies to get that big ass boost.
Yeah.
So it's normally.
So it's always been inflation.
Yeah.
Okay. You've never been hit with like a 7 or 10.
Nah. So it's often inflation bound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know to really get that boost, you gotta maybe like switch a job, or not to like that big ass.
Or get a promotion.
Why one? Yeah, Mara, hey, pressure's coming, Buffett. Pressure's coming. So yeah, just brace yourself. And we got 0.5 now, and I think 0.5 next year to get that 1% to 16.
Oh, very sharp around.
Yeah, we're playing at the interval. So it was 0.5 now. Next year, it will be another 0.5. So by the time around May to next year, we'll be paying 16% on stuff.
Is there any intention to bring it back down at some point?
Well, that is what Balula was alluding to during after the passing of this thing on Wednesday. Treasury will monitor it, and should the economy get better, they will take it back to 15. So that is what he's saying.
Not even 14.
No, take it back to 15. Take it back to 15. But that shit is unprecedented. He's bullshitting us. Once it's there, Jack. I know Jay got things. I've never seen a VAT by decrease.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Once it's up there, man. And the taxes they will be receiving from this extra thing. So I don't. It's unlikely for them to try to go back on it. Unlikely. And speaking of taxes, another thing that happened this week, get Trump announcing tariffs, bro. Yeah, apparently he came out with a whole list of countries where these exceptional percentages on tariffs. He announced these exceptional percentages on tariffs, and then he had a group of countries he was calling, quote unquote, the worst offenders, and they got percentages like around like 30%. China, what was about 60-something%, like some crazy amounts like that. Like Trump is wilding, and apparently
we got 30, right?
Yeah, we got 30. Yeah, around the 30s there. I guess we get 31, we get 37, but yeah, somewhere around the 30s.
31.
Yeah, 31, innit? Yeah, crazy, and because my understanding, and this is just a high level view of the working of a tariff. Like for instance, if I'm a country in South Africa and I have a product I want to bring to the US, that means I pay a tariff if that good it falls under that day, because I know with certain
you don't pay a tariff, but your consumer does. If you're exporting.
If I'm exporting.
Yeah.
So
it makes your goods more expensive.
That side.
Yeah, because high pizza customs it look up by your custom.
Because I get it now. They have to account for the tariff.
Unless you absorb that cost, which you won't.
Which I won't.
Yes.
Which I won't. That means, that makes promise price side, I think.
You raise your prices.
To meet that 30%. Then what that would mean on the side, US is either the consumer will stop buying my shit because it's more expensive now. And if they still want to, it makes it more expensive. Yeah,
you become less competitive in their market.
Yeah, on that side. which is not necessarily like if you are in the US, that might not necessarily be such a bad thing, right?
Well, if you're an economy that's not dependent on imports, then that might. Well, that's the one, and the second, if you have a manufacturing economy, which stands usually those are the people that stand to gain because then they are able to be perceived as the cost effective cheap ones as opposed to foreign goods.
Then what does the tariff then mean for, let's say, like a company like Apple that maybe makes their products
in China?
In China. Then okay. It would mean then China would have to live on an app maybe to punish.
Yeah, because I mean, if Apple, where do they assemble the iPhone?
The iPhone. I'm assuming it's overseas. Is it only?
I know the parts.
The parts are sourced overseas, but it's assembled in the US. I'm not really quite sure.
Yeah, but anyway, it would still cost Apple because for them to bring that product in,
it will have that tariff.
Yeah, they would have to pay it. It's in China, actually.
It's in China, so they assemble it in China, and then they bring it in.
But now the question is then, so it's either you assemble it in China and then you bring the phones in, at which point you'll pay a tariff. Or you keep them in China and you export from there across the world. Yeah. But anything coming into the US is going to.
Yeah, it's gonna mean.
Yeah.
Because chatter around it is that maybe Trump might be shooting himself in the foot, but I guess because obviously tariffs means American, especially if they in-house American companies should benefit.
I think it hurts more people than it saves. I think it hurts more people than it benefits because a lot of the countries, especially the electronic companies, Silicon Valley, most of their microprocessor chips and parts,
they're not sourcing them.
It's like China.
Yeah, right in
China.
So them buying that stuff.
It'll
double.
Yeah, it'll work.
Yeah, it'll double. Yeah. So these are some of the things that Trump is doing. It's the tariffs, and then I think a congressman in the US announced the Afrikaaner Act. Well, they're calling it the Afrikaaner Act or something like that, but but this is them now formulating laws around giving Afrikaners refugee status in the US. So
is that what it's for?
Yeah. Because I think it stipulates the level of refugee that they would be. Because I think Baba Bisa the class 2 or
damn, they made it a whole acronym.
Yeah, maybe some.
Let me see here. They call it the Asylum for Farmers and Refugees in Crisis and Necessary Immigration Resettlement. Afrikaaner.
Sure. Yeah. So what are now? Things are rolling now. This is them now formulating laws around this thing. That's gonna allow these niggas to come through to the US. So,
well, it's proposed.
Oh, it's proposed. It's not proposed. It will still need to be passed.
Yeah, Congress has to.
Needs to pass it.
Yeah.
So they formulating the laws. They will still need to table it.
Yeah, just like with any bill, right?
Yeah.
A bill has to be passed, bro. You don't just come up with a law. What you can change is a regulation.
Yeah. And what's the likelihood? Do you think he's got the numbers in Congress to actually really pass this thing?
It depends. If the House right now is majority Republican,
yes,
and if they share the same sentiments, then it might have a chance. But I still don't believe. But I've been proved wrong so much this past month.
Yeah.
I really thought that VAT thing wasn't going to come in.
And what gave you confidence or it might not? You didn't think
because everyone was opposed to it. Or it seemed as if everybody was opposed to it, except the ANC.
Except the ANC.
Yeah, and I thought they weren't going to make it work without the support of the other parties. Marikimo, what I could also be wrong about is the fact that I don't really feel that the sentiments that these one or two congressmen in Trump feel about the Afrikaaner situation in South Africa is shared by everyone.
Everyone. Yeah. Same, because I would like to believe, especially the Democrats on that side, they don't believe none of this shit. None of the misinformation, but maybe there may be some sympathies based on the Israel thing. Okay, maybe let's start antagonizing SA because they don't fuck with us with regards to Israel. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe Democrats believe what's happening there. Believe this misinformation that's been shared to the US. But I do believe they are sympathetic to Israel and they do want to be seen to be doing something about South Africa and but hitting us with the tariffs and taking some of the aid, I think that's enough.
Yeah, but they have more seats. The Republicans have more seats.
The Republicans, they have more seats, no? Yeah, so they might be able to do it
if they share
the same view. Yeah, if they share the same. But
also they might also be required to tell the party.
Yeah. So there's another one. We check it out. The U.S. South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act of 2025.
U.S. South Africa.
Yeah, so it's called the U.S. South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act, which is something.
Is that a proposed bill?
It's a proposed bill, and this one is going to be more specific because they're looking to sanction. Based on the article I read, they're looking to sanction individuals.
Oh, it's a U.S. bill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be running concurrently. Check. So these niggas are coming at us, bro. And they're talking about sanctions here on this one.
Yeah, okay. So it's to certify whether South Africa has engaged in actions that undermine U.S. national security or foreign policy interests.
Yeah.
Hey, and then what? What publicly release an unclassified determination detailing the justification for this assessment. Well, after they have the findings to their whatever research that they'll do. Okay.
Yeah. So according to a statement of the congressman that's pushing for this one, the bill will help advance Trump's foreign policy agenda by giving him the tools necessary to impose sanctions on South African officials who support America's adversaries.
How do you sanction an individual?
So maybe you and I'm just spitballing here. Make it difficult for him to travel into America.
Well, that's
yeah. And then maybe that would be bank account if niggas have international bank accounts, or maybe little business interest that nigga is. So if you sanction him,
at that time we don't even use American banks. They trash.
Yeah. Yeah, but
with a financial system like ours, why on earth would you want to go put your money in there? Or maybe it might bar you from purchasing certain shit, but I don't think even that.
Yeah, especially when it's individuals.
Yeah, but you would be flagged, kara.
How
if you try to, or interact with the systems, like your finances, or I wonder if stocks would have anything to do with
anything to do with that,
but I don't think so.
And how severe will it for the people who are eventually identified, or itlaba kawata in what way, from that, and the adversaries being named are China, our relationship with China, our relationship with Russia, and then our supposed relationship with Iran as well. So, but I guess you're like how really cool we are with Iran, though. I'm not really quite sure, but obviously,
did they not get into BRICS?
Iran? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Is Iran part of BRICS?
It's not.
I don't think so.
Okay, but I don't think that we don't have any relations with them though.
Especially around the Israel
Yep.
thing. Oh, they're part?
Yeah.
So basically, they're shitting on BRICS.
It's like Banyovu like BRICS.
They're shitting on
like
BRICS.
Kenya Black.
Yeah, they're shitting on BRICS. And now they're making it seem, okay, now because we are part of this thing, vele sharp, our alliances are changing away from the US, And what do you think about our stand to try to play both sides?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But it's
very delicate.
It's a delicate situation. I mean, if you're siding with my ops, or if you're in cahoots with my ops, how do I know that I'm safe from you?
Yeah, well.
So,
and I understand.
So they could use that as like a national security interest.
Thing.
Rallying point.
Yeah. Especially to get something like this passed.
But it still has to go to Congress.
It still has to go.
That's what I like about democracy.
You can't just
unilaterally. You can talk, but okay, let's go see if your counterparts feel the same.
Yeah, and if it will stand, you know what I'm saying? So, but clearly things are brewing, dog. Especially with our relations with the US, they are strained, and so in response to this, I know Kanagamang Lamula and Kanagamang Pakstau, I think it's Pakstau, who's the Minister of Trade and Industry or something to that effect. They did a joint media conference to sort of like respond back to the tariffs. Yeah. And so Parks was saying, he's not gonna, South Africa is not gonna rush to try to impose, to counter that.
Okay.
So we're still taking the diplomatic approach to it. As again, if we try to counter, actually, then everything just goes down, like our relations, because we need. We still get a lot of stuff from the US, so we don't really necessarily want to, agitate them by increasing the tariff. So for now, SA is not going to respond to this thing. So we're not gonna increase our tariffs in countering this thing, And then Ramaphosa, and his statement was obviously he's concerned, but he will continuously try to kind of engage the US, so that the US can understand, this is our position. So counter these sort of things with facts coming from officially from South Africa and its delegates.
Are you worried?
Hey, not, to be honest, not too much, but I do feel that things are gonna be, for the next 5 years at least, or 4, while Trump is in power, things are gonna be tough. Yeah.
This is his first term.
But it's his second presidential term, so he, according to their constitution, he can't do a third.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because remember he was president before. He was 45
for 8 years. I get it.
No, he did 4 then, and then Biden came in.
They only do 4 at a time.
Yeah, they do 4 at a time.
Are you sure?
Maximum 8. Yeah, look that up. Maximum 8. So he's done 4. This is his last 4. So he can't do another 4.
Oh, because they do elections every 4 years. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking past Trump, we head back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah. Past Trump, we head back to normal. So we endure for the next 4 of this shakiness with them niggas. Now we can endure.
Yeah, you can only do 2 terms, no?
Yeah, you can only do 2 terms. So yeah.
Ride it out.
Yeah, ride it out. We're just riding out the wave, dog. So it might get bumpy, but we ride that shit out. And we hope for a
Let's see what that does.
Yeah. Because then we hope for the next elections, Democrats maybe can put in maybe a tougher contender.
Yeah.
Maybe not do Harris or Kamala. Maybe they might look at Hillary, or maybe a man this time. Because their women candidates don't seem to be working. America's not ready for women, apparently, on the hot seat. So maybe Democrats shift it up.
Very few places in the world are.
Yeah. Put another man.
But hey, look at Namibia. Hey.
Progressive.
Hey.
Progressive, bro. Progressive.
I like it.
Yeah, progressive. Yeah, but we don't see that often. And,
Nah, it doesn't happen often.
We don't see that often. And I don't think America, you're on a hair, even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even worse American Jack. So but we definitely not gonna see it. Another thing, just maybe some current affairs news. Inele taba ya kisi ya demand, is it Omotoso? Is it Omotoso, right? So he's been running this case for like 8 in fact, apparently since he abatla pusha case nana for the past 8 years. And he wasn't allowed bail, so he was
behind for 8 years.
Behind for 8 years. So but the judge was not convinced that the state was able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. And he even lambasted the cross-examination of Omotoso and how weak the MPA's cross-examination of him was. Yeah. He lamented on that. And then Aware, because the state's case was so weak, he could not reasonably, they did not prove it beyond reasonable doubt. He was accused of,
I wonder if heads roll at the NPA when they lose cases.
Honale?
I wonder if heads roll.
Yeah.
If they lose cases.
Yeah.
If it's like a career limiting.
Sure.
For you to fumble a case like this,
like this.
What does that mean for your career as a person that was heading up that
case?
Child,
yeah. It will be interesting to find out something like that, because another head of the MPA Olanta statement to say they're gonna go back and review their case as well. So maybe through that process, because getting lambasted like that by a certain judge, y'all niggas were playing. Heads should roll, dog. Heads should roll, preferably. And I wanted to ask, could they appeal? Even though now he's let go, is there like an appeals process that the states can do? That the state can do?
I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they can. But somebody was saying that it would have been better to find him guilty and let him appeal that shit.
Yeah, because it's a well away, right?
Yeah.
It's a well away. Yeah, but it's
Yeah, but they'd have to apply for leave to appeal.
Oh, leave to appeal.
Yeah, because this was an acquittal,
this was an acquittal, sharp. Yeah, so yeah, man, and obviously his acquittal speaks to the little issues we've had with these evangelical foreigners. Because we have issues. We've been trying to get Bushiri back into the country.
You never get that nigga. You can forget about him.
You don't think Malawi will...
You can't forget about that, man.
But Malawi
that one, just leave him alone.
As soon as they allowed him out the country, we should have just known we're never going to see that nigga. Bushiri, I guess sure, because Bushiri has nothing to do with sex, though.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. Bushiri has nothing to do with sex. But I know it has nothing to do with sex, Bushiri.
If I was Omotoso, I'd get out.
Yeah, I'd bounce. Before it's over. Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah, he should be out.
Peace,
dog. Yeah, I never grave. Yeah, I think it's done. It's a done deal.
And then I do like online. Hey.
I think it's a done deal, man. I think it's a done deal.
Shit. Yeah. Bushiri had 16 counts.
It's a fraud.
Of charges, rape and sexual assault. 16.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I thought there was no sex with his things.
But these people that... Oh, snap. The Malawi court did rule that he should face charges.
Oh, word? So are they going to extradite him? Are they going to send him here?
Yeah, because they say as of April 2025, the extradition process is ongoing with the Bushiris contesting the ruling in Malawian courts. The South African government continues to pursue their return to face the pending charges.
Yeah.
But I was about to say, do you know that man still has a huge following?
Who, Bushiri?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know there are South Africans that are currently going to Malawi?
To that nigga's church?
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. So they still believe he's not guilty.
They still.
Yeah, Abbas by.
This thing is a powerful drug, man.
Yeah.
Collision, man.
Yeah, no.
Powerful drug.
And utologo utakona loba juta hore, you know this. You know how they are able to turn legal adversities, and make it seem like it's a whole test from God. Yeah, that whole bullshit. I'm sure he's doing bullshit like that in his sermons, and that's why niggas are still believing. You know. Yeah. That's why niggas are still believing, and when I South Africans, bro, collision wise, these niggas got us. They know it.
All of Africa.
Yeah.
All of Africa.
They got us, bro. They got us. So Omotoso out, and I believe he will skip the country.
He should. I would if I was him.
Yeah, he'll definitely skip the country.
But maybe the 8 years that he spent behind bars is a consolation. Not enough, but
hey,
he did time.
Yeah, he did.
Though not officially.
Yeah, though not officially, nah. A few updates on that child's case, man. That we discussed briefly Hanyane last week. So now they've involved maybe there's a national police arm. I think they're calling it the family something, basically the full name. So they're gonna get investigators nationally from that department. I think they specialize in family and child cases like this. So they're bringing investigators to look at that that little girl who was raped in the Eastern Cape.
And nobody knows who touched this girl.
Yeah. Currently,
I don't know what she's saying.
The suspects, but from what I'm reading in the articles, there's a huge reliance on DNA. I don't know if little girl has really pointed out anybody, or no, this is the nigga that's been doing this.
And she passed out, I get.
Eh.
So it could have happened while she was unconscious.
Yeah.
So she probably wouldn't be able to identify the perpetrator.
So maybe
assuming that's how it happened.
It happened, yes. And maybe that's the reason why they're heavily relying on DNA. From what
and apparently the fact that the principal submitted DNA samples is a lie.
Oh, it's a lie? Because I read but he eventually gave in.
But it's a lie. I saw a headline, but I didn't read the article.
The article.
They say it's a lie.
So Katolore Afroforum, maybe they still backing him around this.
That's such a mind-boggling.
You know, because once you get accused of something, your first point would be ufanaga whatever thing ukafanaga to prove to rule you out, be it a lullaby, maybe an alibi, or be it what you call it, be it your DNA. If usho wena away some shit, but he's trying to play.
Yeah, official reports say he did submit the samples,
the sample.
So I would say what's what.
Yeah, but considering the movement and the national interest in the case, because during this week as well there were marches at various spots around SA. I know Durban had a march. I know there was a small one organized in Tshwane as well, just to bring more light or media attention around this thing. And now that the ministers are starting to come and make, addressing the media around this. Yeah. That maybe we'll start seeing some progress around the case, Yeah. And it speaks to, because apparently I read an article that said the MPA, based on back in November, because apparently this whole thing with this girl happened around October, right? So the NPA initially said it won't go ahead with the case because of lack of evidence. They didn't believe or they'll win the case.
So the mother's actually the one that's
been fighting this.
It's an old thing.
Yeah.
They make a in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, no. It happened last year. Kintoa last year, October. And then MPA we don't have
enough evidence.
I don't know push. So it's the mother's resilience to get this thing in the national forefront, and now the attention that it's getting. So the MPA will start looking at this. So you can commend the mom, bro.
Yeah.
You know, for pushing for Wanaha.
Hey, it must be a traumatic experience, though.
Yeah. Must have been totally fucking hectic, Joe. What happened to this girl? Yeah. That's one of the things that happened. And then saying, like, in terms of current affairs in that I wanted to mention around the budgeting and then what that would mean. But I don't have any other current affairs one that is too hectic.
Why does it have to be hectic?
Yeah, because that are at the forefront. And
Okay.
then otherwise it's a smaller dog. It's a smaller. Let me
Did you hear that? Is it Dan McPherson?
Who's that?
The Minister of Public Works.
Yes.
Am I even saying his name right? No. I'm talking crap.
Under the department in your
because Dean.
Yeah, Dean.
Yeah. Because he's foreseeing the GNU collapsing. So by the time Atwa from office, Abasa Stotse, so he's pressuring the HR to fast track and expedite the hiring of these contractors
wheeling and dealing, dog. wheeling and dealing because another article I read during the week in Leona Katabaye, the uncertainty of DA ministers in the GNU, because obviously with this contention and with around the budget, and now with the NC wheeling and dealing with other smaller parties, everybody wants to eat, dog. Everybody wants to eat. So the Patriotic Alliance is pushing for more of their people. So maybe we might not see them in cabinets nationally, but provincially, Fagamajita, locally, Fagamajita.
Who the other parties, minority parties.
Yeah, the minority parties.
Okay.
Like that's, they're vying and fighting for those sort of positions now. Maybe the ANC might not want to shake the boat nationally, which I'm more inclined to believe they will not. So I don't think the ANC will want to shake the boat too much with its biggest alliance partner in the GNU, the DA. But obviously, Luana, they had to stand fast. So I don't think it will demote the DA ministers. But Kenana itla patala the smaller parties. But if
the GNU does collapse, though, what will that mean for the ministers?
If it
will they be kept on, or do you think
they would have to go?
Cyril will shuffle them out.
Yeah, he will have to shuffle them out. He will have to. Did you also hear, Nto, the leaked recording? Yeah, Ramaphosa this week.
I didn't listen to it. I read about it.
Yeah. Because he was talking about. Because I listened to a bit of it, Mara. High level paraphrasing of what he was saying there. is that the DA is backing itself in a corner in its negotiations with the ANC in this GNU. You know what I'm saying? And this thing every time there's an impasse or we might reconsider our position in the GNU. Ramaphosa says that's just them. Equal. So
Giving them rope to hang themselves.
To hang themselves. That's basically what he said in that leaked.
Catch the rest of this episode on Patreon.